Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. You're listening to Java with Jimmy.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. And before I go in recognizing the date, I want to make sure she's in the room. But there's a special birthday of someone today. And so once I see she's in the room, I'll go in and give her the birthday greetings. But today is Wednesday again, December 21st. Just me today. Not no guest today, so we get to check in on the Java family and have some conversation. I am introducing sort of a new segment today. I saw something online and it made me have the thought, like Arsenio used to say, and the thought was, what would you do? And so we're going to show a video in just a few moments, but we're going to go in the Java Cafe. Do me a favor and hit that share button. Make sure also that if you are prompted on Facebook to say, hey, get notified when Jimmy goes live, go ahead and accept that. So every time that we go live, you will be notified and be able to jump in. Let's go in the Java Cafe and see who is in this morning. Let me turn my phone off. All right, there we go. Well, maybe that was another device, but let's go in and see who is in this morning. Rena, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Hope you are doing well. Sister Debbie, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Our good friend, charter member here on day one and day two, Diane Sullivan. I thought about you yesterday. I seen a friend of mine. I forgot what part of the country he's in, but he put up a post up about the price of eggs. And when I tell you immediately, you were the first person I thought of. So not just to Massachusetts, but I'm not messing with you, Sharon. Not just Massachusetts, but, you know, across the country, that is definitely an issue. To Dr. Drumright, good morning. Good to see you in the room, sir. Good to see you. Sharon Cornelius, good morning. Good to see you in the room. It was good seeing you last evening as well. And Diane, listen, you warned us. You warned us I think even before the pandemic, you warned us about the price of eggs and cage free and stuff like that. So prices are going up in general. Prices are going up on food in general. And speaking of that, I just wanted to shout out a good friend and brother. Some of you may have saw the video on my personal page yesterday. Shout out to everyone, but I walked in 12th Baptist last night. And Diane said she tried. I walked in 12th Baptist last night, and Pastor Willie and his team was in the process of giving out 500 turkeys. 500 turkeys. Like, whoa. So shout out to all the families, shout out to the families, of course, but shout out to all the organizations and those that are doing work to ensure that families have that traditional meal. And they offset some of the costs because these holiday meals are expensive. I was riding down the street yesterday thinking about cooking on Sunday, and I'm like, I spent all that money on Thanksgiving, and, you know, after about 3 or 4 days, you give out plates, you eat a couple of times. It's like, I'm all set. So Sunday, I don't know, but I'll definitely post some pictures of what I am cooking. I wanted to introduce a new segment today for We Need to Know Wednesdays. I was on Twitter earlier this morning, and I saw something that made me upset. It perpetuates the racism in this country. It shows sometimes the extreme amount of passion that some folks can have when it comes to sports. And, you know, we talk about sports here often on Mondays with Dr. Brandy and Heidi and Charlotte and some others. I saw a post the other day about the Patriots game, and I believe it was an away game. And sometimes when you go to a game in another city, speaking as a Patriots fan, you may be one of few. And there was a situation where a young man by the name of Jerry Edmond, I don't know exactly where he's from. I believe the game was in Las Vegas. And I seen this chatter on Twitter. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it early. And then we'll show it again for folks that may come in a little bit later. But I want to show you all this video and I want to get your reaction to it and ask you the question. Well, I'll ask after we see the video, but here's the video. It's interesting. Just take a couple of seconds and watch, and we'll be right back with you.
That was like laughably bad when the Patriots just lost.
So my question is to you this morning, what would you do in that situation with what you saw going on? How would you respond? What would you do? I have my thoughts, but I want to hear from you on this We Need to Know Wednesday. In that situation right there with that young man, and in further looking into the story on Twitter, it was his very first NFL game. And so I'll read his statement in a minute, but I'm curious to those of you that are in, what would you do in that situation where you were at an event, at a game? You know, often in some cases, we would be the minority when it comes to number. And someone is in your face cussing during COVID, less than 6 feet away. I'm curious as what would you do? How would you handle it? How would you respond? The other thing I want us to consider is if the situation was reversed, I wonder what would happen to that young man. I'm going to go and just read his statement from Twitter this morning. And for those of you that are just joining us, we will go back and show the video again. But here's his response. I'd like to thank everyone for all the kind words. I'm the Patriots fan in the video. My name is Jerry Edmond, and that was my first ever NFL game. I didn't want to ruin my experience by retaliating towards that woman. I kept my cool. One of the first things I thought about is often the restraint that Black men have to employ when they are in situations where they feel threatened, when they are in situations where they feel disrespected. A couple of years ago when I was working at MGH, I went to walk through the turnstile at the Charles Street MGH station downtown. A young man bumped into me. I bumped into him. I gave sort of that look of, excuse me, I'm sorry. He gives me this crazy look. I'm a little surprised. So I look back at him and he yells out, Black Lives Matter. And at that time, the Java with Jimmy was not active, but you know, Jimmy, the old Jimmy, was a little at bay. But when I heard him say Black Lives Matter, co-worker there that I don't even work with often, the IT guy, come to fix my computer a couple of times. He happened to be there. And I walk up and as I get ready to dig into this dude verbally, I wasn't going to hit him or anything. Verbally, he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And seeing that situation with that video made me think of that situation and the fact that often there is an increased level of restraint that Black men have to employ in order not to get arrested, in order not to get jumped by a mob. I was watching, I forgot the name of the movie. I believe it was a Tyler Perry movie, The Jasmine's Club, recently. And, stuff like that still happens where they get folks together. Charleston, South Carolina, where they had the thing where the guys were walking with the tiki pipes and Jews will not replace us, blacks will not replace us. That stuff is very still active. So I'm going to go in and see if what the comment was. Tay, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning. So folks that watched the video, I'm going to show it again real quick. I'm curious to what your thoughts are and how you would handle it. Here we go again. And maybe one more time, I'll check in at the end. We'll also go over some announcements and we'll be right back in 2 seconds. But I'm curious to what would you do in this situation?
Was like laughably bad when the Patriots just lost.
For those of you that are just joining, new segment today on We Need to Know Wednesday based on that video. What would you do? Come on, let me know. What would you do? Be very, you don't have to reveal everything. This is a safe space. But I'm curious as to how you would handle it, how you would respond. It is just sad. I did watch a video interview that I'm trying to get Mr. Jerry Edmond on the show so we can talk with him as well. I tweeted him. I'm like, yo, DM me your contact information because I'm curious to how he felt in the moment. If you noticed in the video, there's a guy that is tapping him on his back, trying to comfort him. I would presume the partner or the husband of the woman that was in Jerry's face kind of saw what was going on and tried to pull her aside. And it's interesting too, because I'm not sure if the commentator saw what was going on. I'm presuming this was from someone's phone, but even some of the commentary, you hear him at one point go, oh, like, wow, when he, at the time that the woman was in his face and she jumped close in his face a few times. Heidi said, wow. Heidi, I'm curious to how you would handle it. It's so interesting. And so as I watched the video that he did with someone here from Pat's Nation, he talked about the fact that I guess Carr had messed up. And he was saying, as he has a right to say, you're at a football game. That's the Carr I know. Every time Carr did something wrong, the young man would say something. But if you notice, let me just bring this back up real quick. If you notice on the video, let me try to speed up. If you look at the back of her jersey, right about, let me get a better shot for you guys. Right about there. Let me take this off. Diane says she's waiting for a red light. Let me take this down for 1 second. Now, if you look on the back of her jersey, there's the name Carr. And so it's so interesting because this young man, even in the disrespect and everything that she did, he was giving some justification for what he thought was the reason why she came at him like that. Again, have to employ restraint. And then to some extent feel that you got to give a reason or find within yourself some understanding as to why you were disrespected. It's hard to fathom and hard to understand. And I'm not going to beat a dead horse with this. And again, as Diane said, driving so hard not to wait for a red light. I've engaged her, got in front of her. Absolutely. Daryl says there is another lady, if you notice, that is looking. I noticed her down on the lower right-hand side where she is basically, let me bring that that little piece up that Daryl is referring to. I noticed her there she is. So if you look to right in the middle of your screen, you see her. And then toward the end as well, she's looking at her like, lady, what? Like, are you serious? Look at her face. I'm talking about the woman behind the woman. Look at her. She's looking at her like, this is really not happening. And so Daryl, to your point as well, I did notice that earlier that, people were really surprised, but it is the thing. And Diane makes a good point here. She says that she would have stood in the middle of them. And it's so interesting because you cannot deny the fact that if this situation was in reverse, what do you think would have happened? The same energy that she was giving him. If you notice at the very end, he does kind of, I don't know if I clipped it. I think on this one, I clipped it out by mistake. I think I have another. Hold on for 1 second. I think there's another clip where you can see he says some minimal words to her. Hold on for 1 second. I think I have that ready to go. Okay, here he goes. So he kind of, what do you expect the brother to do? There's only but so much restraint when someone is in your face like that, and God can only imagine. Well, he knows, but I'm sorry. We can only imagine exactly what she was saying to him. So here's where he kind of responded to her just minimally. I don't know what he said, but whatever he said it with some stern body language and let her know. But I just I had the thought this morning when I saw that, like, I don't really know. One, she's a female, and so we have to hold that space. And I want to believe that the partner or the husband or whatever that went over and grabbed her, you see the way that he embraced her and hugged her to try to really aggressively show her some love and calm her down. I'm believing that, he was intentional about that. But where were the other Dianes? Daryl brings up the point that there was a young lady that looked dismayed. But I'm going to say something that I was going to say to Carson. What is the brother's name? Diane, what's the brother's name? Ben, that was going to run for governor. He came on one day. I believe Maura Healey had declared, and someone else had declared. Danielle Allen had declared that they were running for governor. So you had two females, one black female in the governor's race. And Ben's team reached out to me, and he wanted to come on the show because at the time he was active. And what I said to him was, I said, with two women getting in, one black woman, with all due respect, sir, as a white male, why are you jumping in the race? Society's, folks are having, there's a lot more desire to have women, people of color, women of color, in political positions, in elected positions. And what he said to me was, I know and understand the power of my male white privilege. And so I bring that up to say that woman that Daryl referred to, rather than just looking dismayed, there probably would have been a different response, or the woman may have been more inclined to back up had that woman say something. And in situations like this, where there are allies present and whatnot, it's an interesting thought process for them. They have to think about their safety. Do I jump in? Do I say something? And so, Diane, we thank you that if you were there, you would be like, well, Diane just has a little swagger with her that it probably would have been beyond recognition of, privilege or whatever, but Diane probably would have checked her just a little bit. And so if you're just joining, we just went over a video of someone being disrespected at a Patriots game. Sharon is saying, hoping I had the Longhorn with me. Sharon, I cannot picture you in the stands talking about stop. Get out of here with the Longhorn. Tasha, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. So that's a little segment that we're going to do on Wednesdays. What would you do? I'm also open to taking emails, not inboxes or texts. But if you have an idea or a situation, please email us at, let me put this up here so you can see it, info@javawithjimmy.com with the subject, what would you do? What would you, I know how to spell. What would you do? If you want to get some feedback, if you want to check in with the Java fam about a situation, email us at info@javawithjimmy with the subject line, What would you do? And I know to tap into that. And so next Wednesday, we'll tap in and we'll find out what you're talking about and what someone may need advice about. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is that on tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., a few people have reached out and were like, Jimmy, are you doing anything politically for the end of the year? The last couple of years, at the end of the year, we, I think in 2020, we pulled in some folks that were thinking about running for office. And then I think last year we did an end of the year post-election check-in with Anthony Collins and some other people. So a few folks have reached out and, what are you doing this year? And so let me get this. I'm just back and forth today with this presentation thing. But tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., I am honored to bring back, and for the first time in this space, Shaquera Robertson, who was active on Rachel Rollins' first campaign when she ran for DA. You all are very familiar with Carlos Enriquez, who is a mental health advocate, political commentator, host of the PSA show. Also, Kristen Halbert, who you all may have not seen in a while, but Kristen was very active with us in 2020, especially in the political space. She'll be with us as well. And for those of you that remember last year, we had Anthony on a couple of times. Anthony Collins is, what is his title? Electoral politics. I almost said operative. He's an electoral politics manager or something like that. But Anthony, if you remember, was the one that would come in after the election and help us crunch the numbers and help tell us what the numbers are saying to us. And so tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, we will gather in the Java Cafe, and we're going to, it's after dark. So you all have been asking about the Java After Dark. This one may not be as spicy, but we're going to have a real conversation about Boston politics, the issues. In 2022, we had a new mayor. We elected a new governor. The very first time we elected a female who identifies as a lesbian and was elected in the state. So she's setting her story. And I'm in the process of trying to get her on. I'm at the team. I told y'all when I seen her a couple of weeks ago, she's like, Jimmy, when am I coming back on the show? And before I realized it, I gave her a look like, what? I've been emailing you, and I had to, maybe she didn't know that the emails were coming in. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the issues, mass and caste violence. One of the other things that we're going to talk about is how elected officials are moving, how they're engaging. There's a new persona with this generation of elected officials. I'm 50 years old, so I've been able to live and see the impact of the Chuck Turners, of Charles Yancey's, as much as we joked about him wanting that high school in Mattapan. Chuck Turners, a few other people that have made some great strides in the work, Felix Arroyo Sr., and some others that have made great strides. This generation moves very differently. Also, this generation is very into social media. And well, anyway, we're going to save that for tomorrow night. So listen, everybody, I was holding on for a few minutes and I'm so glad she came in. Auntie Java, we would like to say happy birthday to you. Auntie Java is a charter member. She's blood, a charter member of the Java Cafe. She is my blood, my mother's sister. And so Auntie Java, Auntie Connie, we would like to wish you a happy 26th birthday. See, that's what I get. My coffee almost fell out my mouth. You all, please help me wish this wonderful queen, who a few years ago was in a horrible car accident, and they were talking surgery and permanent damage. And I don't believe, Auntie, you were quote unquote close to death. But my mother texted me, or somebody texted me and talked about, oh, they said this, they said that. I simply wrote my mother back and declared, oh, she's going to be fine. No major residual effect. And her recovery period was shorter than she thought. She's up and active. Her and my mother run around and hang out and whatnot. So Auntie Java, we love you and we thank God for you. Michelle, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning. And Nikki, I think I said good morning. And Nikki said, love it. Happy 26th birthday to my Auntie Java. So I'm so glad that you're in the room, Aunt Connie, this morning. I ain't seen your sister. Mom must be asleep. She'll text me later. about, hey, I overslept this morning. But for those of you that are just joining, I guess I may show this again for those of you that have endured it. But we're introducing a new segment today called What Would You Do? And basically, it was a situation where a young man was taunted by a football fan. I promise y'all that's seen this before. This is the last time, but I want to hear. I didn't get a whole lot of thoughts from those that have seen it. I want to hear your reaction and thoughts to this. I promise you, this is the last time we'll show it today. Here we go. Here we go. So this is what happened, and I'm curious as to what would you do?
That was like laughably bad when the Patriots just lost.
So that's what I was talking about for those of you that are just joining. Crazy. I that is just so interesting. So I actually tweeted the brother and asked him if he would come in and chat with us because that is just one example of what we're dealing with in this country. Listen, before we get ready to wrap up, just a few national things. President Zelensky is on his way to speak to Congress. He just left Poland or got into Poland about an hour ago. And so stay up to date with that because I believe the president invited him to basically say, please keep helping us. And we thank the president for doing it. We've sent a lot of money over to the Ukraine. I'm not going to get into commentary on that and what thoughts are. But all right, here we go with some comments here. Yahira, good morning. Good to see Yahira. Good morning. Make sure you watch tomorrow night at 8 o'clock because we definitely going to talk about, maybe we need to get you and Mingo on and talk about a Mass and Cast update. Good to see you in the room, sister. Good to see you in the room. Yahira is saying, this is so wild. We all know if this, I said the same thing. And Yahira is the mother of two black and brown men, black men, and well, young men. And so she, yeah. And Yahira, I know where your thoughts are too, as far as this, and just having to almost teach them how to engage in situations like that. It's not just the police with which we have to walk circumspect and be very careful when we do things, but also in dealing with the public sometimes. And I see a reference to here, right here. Here goes on. Here goes Auntie Java calling out the Karen. That Karen needs to be sit her happy self down. Listen, Nikki, I agree. Shame on her. Michelle says, good for him. I don't have that. But Michelle, if you know Michelle, she would have went in her voice and said, excuse me. What did you just do or say? Yeah, it is interesting. Thank you, Sister Debbie, for saying happy birthday to Auntie Java. Auntie is definitely supporting the Ukraine. Miss Teresa, good morning. Good morning. Good to see you in the room. Thank you so much for sending that gift. I appreciate you. I am doing my best to hold on until Christmas. I don't know if I'm going. And I'll be honest, right before I started the show, it's under the tree, and I went and picked it up. I know it's a box. It's something soft on the top with a little squishy. So what's today? The 21st? I bet you on Sunday at 12:01. I'm going to be a big kid. And at 12:01 on Sunday morning, I'm going to open my present. So thank you for that so much. Uh-oh. I haven't even looked yet. But Diane, all I see is she got a chance to pull over. Hold on. I had to pull over to comment a full thought. As a white woman, I would have checked that white woman's behavior and said, Auntie, there you go. And she would have sat her down. Okay. I thought she was going to go with just a little bit more, Diane. But no, it is just, it's crazy. And Auntie saying good morning to Teresa. So we're going to get ready to wrap up. It's 9:30 for the past couple of days, we have held you all for a whole hour. So we're going to let you go early today. Don't forget, tomorrow night at 8 p.m., we will be back with Shaquera Robertson, Carlos Enriquez, Kristen Halbert, and also Anthony Collins. So please make sure you plan to come in tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. We're going to do a end of the year Boston Poly and Mass Poly. As I said, we have, in 2022, we got a new mayor, even though she was inaugurated in 2016. She's had just a little bit over a year. We're going to talk about some of the things going on within her administration and her office. We're going to talk about the issues. Yahira, I mentioned Mass and Cass. You all know that violence prevention is a big issue for me. We have not been able yet to make better strides in that case. And so we need to ensure that we have some conversation about that. And there's going to be some punditry. All 4 of my guests have moved in this space. Shaquera has done work on campaigns. Carlos was an elected official himself. Kristen has done work on campaigns. Her brother ran for office. She's a political operative, political strategist. Anthony, you all know from the Java Cafe, he crunches the numbers. He's also a political operative and strategist. And so we're going to have a real conversation tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. And it's Java After Dark. So I'm not going to be on here cussing and doing a whole bunch of stuff, but we're going to keep it very real. There's a little different tone from, Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. versus on a Thursday night at 8 p.m. All right. That's it for me this morning. We're going to wrap up. Don't forget, if you would like to submit a issue with which you are dealing, we won't reveal who it is. But if you would like to have a discussion or put a situation out there to the Java family, email me at info@javawithjimmy.com with the subject, what would you do? All right. Put in the subject, what would you do? Email me. Don't inbox me. Don't text me about it, because we're going to keep it all together in email. And next Wednesday, we'll pick a topic, or if I see a video and/or topic, and we'll talk about the situation and chat about what it is that you would do. And it's not always, this was different. This had a negative connotation to it, but we're just going to check in on situations in general. You put it before us, we'll pick one and we'll talk about it. Let's just go back into the comments, or y'all are having y'all own morning greetings and whatnot. Sometimes I feel I should just get up and walk away and let y'all do y'all, the relationships and the partnerships. Teresa, I saw your comment. Ma isn't on, but trust and believe, if you told her it was coming, I'll be getting a text later. Are you coming by to drop off what Teresa sent me? I can act up a little bit because Ma's not on. All right, folks, that's it for me this morning. It is 9:36. I want to reiterate again, as we're coming down to the wire, I was sitting looking out the window yesterday with it. I am not lying. Within about 2 minutes, the first 2 UPS trucks pulled up across the street. One went on the other side of the street. They backed into each other. Presumably, they're switching packages and making their routes easier. They got finished. Another UPS truck came down the street, rolled past them, and then here's FedEx coming down. Folks are getting their presents and stuff delivered for Christmas. And I just want to remind folks, do not go into debt over trying to exemplify love through 1 or 2 gifts versus showing love throughout the year. You can do both. And I encourage you to do both, maybe more throughout the year. And if you're fiscally apt and able to exemplify something to someone through the form of a gift, do that. But if you're hustling and looking at credit cards and trying to figure out how to make it happen, if you have children, that's a little bit different. But is there an opportunity to teach them a lesson depending on their age? 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, do what you can, but do not stress yourself out, folks. Most of the folks in here, again, probably have not, even down to our Amazon warehouse person. They're just skilled and able to just do it. But in all seriousness, don't go into debt this holiday, trying to exemplify love through a materialistic thing when the phone call that Carlos referred to, me, more text, and checking in on people. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I'm actually about to go because I've been out a lot. So I'm going to test. And every time I test, I'm like, Lord Jesus, please. Yo, when I test, I'm tarrying. I'm like, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Those 15 minutes I'm walking around the house, just Lord Jesus, please, Lord Jesus, please. I really don't know what I would do if I tested positive for COVID after almost 3 years. This is December. COVID has been around for about we're at the 3-year mark. But also keep in mind, as I'm getting more emails, seeing more numbers rising with positive COVID cases, be a little more circumspect. I know y'all have seen the pictures. I've been out a little less masked up, got a little comfortable. But I'm also not around seniors. And also I'm not in very enclosed spaces, big spaces and whatnot. And if I do start to feel a little enclosed, the mask comes out, or I'll back up in the corner, eat and do my own thing. But I just raised that. And as the doctor said on yesterday, with RSV, COVID, and the flu, we have to be careful. All right. I just wanted to raise that as well. Keep your nose clear. Leslie, good to see you in the room. Leslie Guiti. I got it right this time. Actually, I want to share something funny with you before we get ready to go. I saw another video this morning. That box with the check mark. Listen, Auntie also says you can show love all year long, not go into debt because it's Christmas. Absolutely. Leslie said everybody's getting a smile for Christmas. Lord have mercy. Teresa says she's on. I see. Yo, Angel. Teresa Angel, his swag. I looked at the coordination and whatnot. It kind of reminded me of, how I used to try to dress back in the day. But yo, he's a good brother. Anyway, I'm talking to Teresa like we on the phone. All right, I'm going to close out with this video. This kind of entertained me, and I think it's cute. And it's wrong what they did to this brother. But we're going to definitely do not put no more comments, because y'all know when I say I'm getting off and then I close a video or whatever, I see the comments and I'm on here another 15, 20 minutes. Here is a video that a little different tone to it, little holiday feel. All right, here we go, y'all. Oh, let me get it queued up first. All right, there we go. This is wrong what they did to this dude. Anyway, just something on a lighter note this morning. That was wrong what they did to Charles Barkley. I'm not going to talk about the I can't see that's Jesus get me, because I went to itch my ear. Why do we say itch my ear? I went to scratch my ear because I'm not going to talk about the notes that Jacquees missed as it was snowing. He missed a few snowflakes in those runs he was doing. You all have a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Make it productive. Remember, don't go into debt over gifts, and also be cognizant about your gatherings. I know we're not gathering until Sunday or maybe Saturday evening or things like that, but just be cognizant of it. Okay. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And we will see you tomorrow morning. Oh, Friday, 9 a.m. I need you all to do me a big favor. The 12 of you all that are still in here, please plan to come in and plan to hit share, because Dr. Betancourt, Vice President of Equity and Community Health from the Senior Vice President and the new CEO of the Commonwealth Fund, will be with us on Friday at 9 a.m. So we're going to have a special Freestyle Friday with Dr. Betancourt on Friday at 9 a.m. So remember, programming tomorrow 9 a.m., tomorrow 8 p.m., Friday 9 a.m. And I don't know if Darren's going to call me between now and tomorrow and talk about what are you doing Friday at 1 o'clock, because y'all know Freestyle Fridays was his idea. He came and hijacked Fridays at 1 o'clock. All right, folks, I'm getting off of here. Seriously, this time, don't forget tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. for the end of the year Boston Poly and Mass Poly, and then also Friday morning at 9 a.m. with Dr. Joseph Betancourt. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.